jump directions quite significantly now because we had 4 or 5 different questions submitted, all on the topic of big data. But none of them probably quite articulated it. Is big data a massive threat to independent researchers? And what's going to happen in the near future? What do we need to know or do about it? So who would like to kick us off on big data?
I'm happy to go first because I've just said to Ray, I've been roped into a big data conference next week, so it's absolutely not my specialist subject, but it's something which I've had to make myself a little bit aware over the last few weeks. I think there is a really horror picture of big data, and that horror picture of big data says, because I've got all of the exhaust from your mobile phone, I know everything you've done with your spending patterns on your credit card, I know exactly what you bought in Tesco, I can get my clever people to build an algorithm that will tell me who exactly and when needs an offer of how much to make them buy this product next time. And I think there are people who believe that that is possible and believe that that is a good thing. And I believe, myself, that that will lead to the death of brands. Because if all we ever do is we brilliantly target people with an offer, slap on the nose, slap on the money, slap on the timing, then all thought of brand could go out the window. So that, if you like, is my horror picture of what big data can do. And of course within that is the seed of the opportunity, which is to say, if you rely on that alone, you will never understand anything. And I think the opportunity for us, at our size, for your size, is to say, actually, the big data is not going to go away, the algorithms in the analysis are not going to go away, but what we have to have as well at the same time is an understanding of people and a sense of the humanity of what's behind the data.
Okay.
Well, I think my viewpoint on this is not how big it is, but what you do with it that counts. And I personally think that I'm seeing anthropologists and ethnographers being brought into data analytics departments to Paul's exact point that big data means nothing if you can't interpret it, you don't understand what it means in the context of real people, in the context of culture and society. Microsoft have one of the biggest anthropological teams that sit alongside their data analytics department. I think it almost, when we were discussing this earlier, as you was going to take this question, I think it sort of sits with me like the question about are qualis frightened of quant, and I think it probably is sort of a similar fear that we have, and actually some people don't like numbers, and that's absolutely fine, but some people who are experts in understanding people are if you have an interest in numbers and an interest in data and how data is collected, then there's a massive opportunity out there to demonstrate your skills in understanding people and apply it to the interpretation of data. So I think it's not going to ruin the industry, but if you have an aptitude and interest in it, then there's a big opportunity there, and maybe one worth exploring.
Well, if I could just, I actually had to look up what big data meant, because I think it's one of those words that is sort of bandied around, and it probably means lots of different things to different people. And I suppose just having been around a long time, looking back, then there's always been alongside sort of research an econometric or more analytical sort of group that have always looked at the sort of the sales and the Nielsen data, that have sat quite happily side by side with people who look at what is the understanding of the why, really. And I think, yes, there's a lot going on there because there's been big developments in terms of what computers can do, but all companies and brands have to put people at the heart of their business, and they do put consumers at the heart of their business. And if they stop talking to them, then they're not going to have a business left, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you actually don't look at the people themselves and their behaviour in response to all of this offers or whatever the big data churns out, then you're just going to have one half of the story, and that's where there's always been a huge amount of work to do, and always will be, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think we're going to disappear just because of big data. So.
Okay, we'll come to you in just one second. The panel were wondering how long before I chip in with my this is the point.
We've got the sweepstake.
Longer than you all thought, isn't it? My clear perception is that independents are not going to be impacted by big data, hardly at all. It costs a lot of money. The people who do it are very expensive, and it's tackling really, really big issues. The sort of projects that no sensible client would give to an independent. The sort of stuff that we work on in the independent, and I do quite a lot of my stuff in the independent realm, is really a long way apart. It's going to be 10 years before most of that big data stuff is even a really big threat to TNS and Ipsos. There are much bigger wolves closer to our sleigh than big data, so I really wouldn't worry about big data.
What I was going to say, I'm a quant researcher and I'm very familiar with big data sets. And I think big data is a big opportunity for indies because big data predicts the behavior, whereas it can't predict the motivations or emotions. And the role of the researchers will be what it means, making sense of the data, bringing all of these different sources together, and then creating big consumer stories and helping to the decision-making process. I think this is where the opportunities for indies.
As you can tell, I agree with you. The horror version of that is I don't care. Because I don't care why they're doing it, I know when they're going to do it, and I know how much it takes to switch their behaviour. So actually, I'm going to stop caring about the why. And that is my nightmare.
Okay, so now we can move to what the whole panel thought was